Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This episode we are going to show you the extreme makeover we did to the front of the bakery, and because we were on a tight budget we opted to do it ourselves. So we're going to show you from beginning to end. If you want to make either a floral arc for your store or you want to maybe even do one for a wedding, then this is how we did it. So we've had this idea for a while. We wanted to make the front of the bakery kind of match the inside of the bakery, but we needed a semi-permanent solution, so painting was out of the question. We ended up deciding to do a faux boxwood wall, which we really thought would pop really well with the floral arc that's going to be framing the window. So that was the general idea. Then we also were looking into the front of the bakery tile part. It was also an unattractive sort of pink color. Then we decided we were going to paint the tiles in the front, and that's where we will begin our journey. We will then go into how we created the boxwood wall, and then we're going to go into the main event, which is the floral arc. So as you can see, these are what the tiles looked like before. And we're gonna start painting with a black charcoal paint. I got a stencil off of Etsy, and that's what we laid over the top of the painted black charcoal. And originally I was just gonna do every other tile, but I ended up thinking it looked better if I just did all the tiles. Either way, when you paint it, you want to kind of alternate to let the tile next to the one that you just painted dry before you can do the one that's like directly next to it, if that makes any sense. We then painted it with a clear sealer, floor sealer, and here's the finished product. So this is what the front looks like before we're adding the boxwood. It's like a weird kind of beige color. It has cracks in the foundation. It has these kind of like lame side pots. We're going to get rid of all that, and we're going to cover it up with the boxwood. This is another kind of look. So because the front is concrete, I had to buy a drywall masonry kit. It comes with the drill bit, the anchors, and the screws. I thought that the drill bit was going to be strong enough to handle the job, but you'll see later on that it ends up kind of, getting messed up. But anyway, then we have the 20 by 20 boxwood squares. I got these off of Amazon. I'll leave the link in the description below. And this is basically the idea. So I pre-drilled the holes, put the anchors in, and then put the boxwood square and then interlock it with the next square that's next to it. It's not really that hard, except for the interlocking part. You have to make sure that you align them properly, and also the drilling the holes into the concrete with just a regular drill ended up taking really long. Through some research online, I ended up finding out that I needed a hammer drill to get the job done, but I still wanted to test out the theory that I could just place these on here and it would look all weird. And it looked pretty good the first couple ones that I put on. Not too shabby, I think. So here is the hammer drill. I ordered it in the mail, and I went to test it outside. Let's see. So I'm hoping that with the power of the hammer drill, I can drill the holes in quicker and get the job done faster. But I quickly realized that it was really loud. Like obnoxiously loud. I ended up using the drill anyway, but on like the regular, not so noisy mode. And then inevitably the drill bit bent on me. And here's Mama for moral support. Go ahead, mama. This is it here. I had to then do a run to Home Depot and get a new drill bit, and also I ended up getting these sort of like curved anchors that we're going to use later on when we're installing the floor arc. This was the new drill bit, and it really turned out to work really well for this project. So the middle part has like this kind of crisscrossy grid. I had to take care to not totally destroy it because I need those holes intact so that later on we go to drill it into the wall, it has somewhere to kind of anchor the screw to. This ends up being kind of tough later on either way because I had to buy a different box of the Boxwood, and they ended up being kind of like a different brand and had like these weird holes in them. And so it took a little bit longer to sort of get the screw to actually attach it to the wall because it kept wanting to come off. So I'll put the link to the first Boxwood brand that I bought, which is way better. So with all the pieces ready to go, all I had to do was pre-drill the hole, put the anchor, and then drill the squares to the wall, interlock the little pieces, and then go back and drill holes in the middle of the grid so that it wasn't kind of like coming off the wall from the center of it. If only it went this fast in real time. This is the part I was talking about where I had to keep re-drilling the holes and putting more anchors to try to get the final bottom pieces to actually stick to the wall. These didn't actually have the really good little holes to put the screw into like the first brand of Boxwood that I bought. And yes, Grandma needed her crate. This was hurting my knees. Nope. And this is how it looked in the end. Now we're gonna go into the floral arc. So we wanted to go for like this cool natural look and have the vine kind of look like it's growing around the window. So we bought this really long dried vine on this website called Save on Crafts, and we put it in the largest plastic container we could find. Ideally you want to kind of submerge the whole thing underwater at one time, but you'd have to have like a really big container for that. So we opted to go with this. I filled up the container all the way to the top, and the idea is to rotate it halfway through. So I believe the instructions said to let it soak 24 hours. Probably gonna have to let it soak a little bit longer than that. So I just put one half underneath, and then we are going to rotate in another 24 hours to make sure that both sides get equally submerged in the water. So while that was happening, I decided to lay out all the garlands and flowers that I had ordered just to make sure that we had enough, and sort of just to get the idea of the general layout of how I'm going to put the flowers on the final piece. Now, I did get some of my flowers on Amazon, but I did want to point out that you really want to invest in some good quality flowers so you don't end up having this kind of like bootleg looking flower arc. This is not sponsored or anything, it's just they really do have a good variety based on color scheme and flower type. And so I just kind of mixed and matched with flowers from here, Amazon, and I actually got a couple of them at Michael's as well. So this is me in my Ryan Phillippe circa Cruel Intentions look. And I'm putting all the flowers on the table and making sure that I have the bulk of them kind of where I want them in the final arc. So we're gonna go check on the vine. It looks pretty good. And we're gonna lay it out on the table that I've prepped with saran wrap to uncoil it.
Ooh, okay. It smells, you know, like the forest.
So in this part, you just want to stretch it out as much as you can. It's still going to want to coil on itself. So I decided that the best idea was to get various heavy items around and weigh it down and let it kind of set a little bit with the heavy items overnight. As you can see here, I just kind of improvised and put whatever I could find that was heavy. You know, bags, boxes of any kind, and it seemed to do the trick. I also kind of unraveled it and coiled it around the furniture, like that chair over there. So the original idea was to get this piece of wood that I have painted, it's left over from a different project, and secure the chicken wire around it, and then I was going to feed the wooden vine through the little tunnel of the chicken wire, and then surround it with the florals and the leaf garlands. This ends up being an issue later because is really hard to kind of feed the wire through the tunnel. So I recommend my second option, which is to secure the vine secure the vine to the piece of wood with ties, wire ties, and then wrap the chicken wire around that, and then secure the whole thing together, and then assemble the garland and the flowers on top of that. So you'll see here, I did the mistake of putting the chicken wire on the piece of wood first. And by the way, I highly recommend gloves for this part because this wire was like cutting up my hands pretty bad. I didn't have any, so I just kind of kept it moving. So I bought this green wire, just as a backup plan to secure the wooden board to the chicken wire tunnel. There's a phrase you thought you'd never say, chicken wire tunnel. Anyway. I also use the ends of the chicken wire to connect them and complete the, you're gonna make me say it, aren't you? The chicken wire tunnel. So you want to start by securing the center of the vine in the middle part. You can kind of measure each side. It doesn't have to be precise, but you do want it to be more or less equal exposed vines on each side. They come like away from the wood part. So once you find the middle, just secure it with the green wire pretty tight. You can also use wire ties for this. And then just keep wrapping it around till you feel it's pretty secure. The goal here is to secure the vine to the piece of wood with this other wire here, and then wrap it with the chicken wire tunnel. So this is the final product with the piece of wood, the vine secured, and then the chicken wire around that. I did leave the two ends of the vine exposed on each end because the idea is to hide the chicken wire with the leaves and the garlands and the flowers, and then continue the flower and leaves going down just the bare vine at the ends. So my course of action was to start with the greenery first and kind of build up a base. And then after I build up the base with all the green garland and the little kind of leaf bunches, then I went in and started inserting the different flowers. So you really want to use the chicken wire tunnel to secure all the leaves in. You kind of want to coil it inside, and it'll pretty much stay by itself just by tangling it up into the vine and into the wire parts. You also want to make sure to wrap it evenly around the end parts, just so it looks bulky and well rounded around the whole thing and looks a little bit more natural. So here I start with adding some of the flowers, the flower garlands, and I pretty much try to disperse them evenly out so that it looks like it has the same amount of flowers on the whole entire flower arc. I'm doing the same thing here by coiling the flower garlands inside of the wire so that it stays secure. And this is the final flower arc. So the extra garland and flowers are here, and after we put it up, we're going to kind of add it to all the spots that need a little bit more bulk. Now all we need is reinforcements, because this is definitely a team job here. I got these fairy lights to put on so that we could light it up. And I also got these little wire ties so we can secure any of the flowers once we start putting it outside. Here are my reinforcements. I totally scammed them into helping me by promising pizza. And here we have me looking kind of like Cindy Lou from the Dr. Seuss movie vibes. But anyway, we ended up running into some issues when trying to attach the piece of wood to the top part.
Problem, and we're gonna have to improvise because that frame is too high. That thing is in our way, so we need to find a way to lower this. So we're gonna make like brackets.
So we ended up having to flatten the little curved brackets I bought.
And this thing is hard. Esto va a ir a dónde? Aquí. Bajando ahí.
Sí. After placing it where we wanted to, we secured it with some pretty heavy duty screws just to make sure it would move around with the wind. and then we secured the sides with those curved brackets, and then we kind of curled it up and let it sit there until I can come back the next day and do the final touches. And this is me kind of just drilling the rest of the vine down, and then I added the rest of the florals and leftover leaf garlands. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, just please hit the like and subscribe button. Also, if there's any extra questions that we maybe missed, you can definitely drop them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. So yeah, see you guys next time.